On the 4th anniversary of the publication of Noise, The Decline and Fall of eBay as a Kindle ebook on Amazon, author Rich Vernadeau discusses his ebook and the things which led to him writing the book.
I started witnessing and hearing and reading about different things that eBay was doing to the small sellers, the mom and pops who basically built eBay from its inception. And some of the things that they were doing included this massive purge of some 15,000 sellers. And that's well documented. Suzanne Wells wrote an article on it. Anna Steiner covered it over on E-commerce Bytes, which I recommend that online newsletter very much. It covers not just eBay, but a lot of other auctions. Anyway, you can look this up by doing a Google search, and you can pull up plenty of information about the purge, where a lot of small sellers were just simply kicked off eBay. Now, basically what happened was eBay became very corporate friendly. They started the big pockets, the deep pockets. They started catering to the JCPenney. The very rules and regulations that made it very, very difficult for the small seller to operate profitably, and certain things that were enacted. For example, the culture at eBay became such that, generally speaking, the buyer on eBay expected free shipping, and eBay pushed this on the small sellers. Now, keep in mind, the small seller still has to pay the shipping costs when they go to the post office to mail something to a buyer. And rather than the small sellers continuing to charge for shipping, many of them went ahead and did this, saying, we've got to jump on this free shipping bandwagon because it was being pushed so heavily. And you basically, as a small seller, were being penalized if you didn't quickly and rapidly get an item shipped out. Well, as you know, the cheaper ways to ship, such as media mail for books and movies, takes a lot longer than priority mail or even standard mail, and therefore item delivery would be slower. Well, buyers got accustomed to things getting there quickly, and buyers, many of them, are notoriously impatient. So eBay began to almost force a seller to ship the very same day that an item sold. You pretty much to get any slack from eBay, which they never gave anybody much slack, you had to type in the tracking code. You had to ship at the post office in such a way that you could verify that you had shipped if this ever came up. And at the same time, buyers were encouraged to ask for refunds, to ask for returns if they were for any reason dissatisfied. I got to the point where you could literally sell something and the buyer may already have found one somewhere else cheaper. And so they get your item and instantly send it back to you and demand a refund. Well, the way eBay's set up, the buyer's always right. And the seller, generally speaking, has little, if any, recourse. The eBay almost never sides with the seller. They 99% of the time side with the buyer, even when the buyer's lying or inaccurate or incorrect. You could even document that the item worked, whatever it was. If the item was in perfect condition, you could have all of this documented. You could prove it with video and with photographs, and still 90% of the time or 99% of the time, eBay would side with the buyer and the small seller would be forced to refund. Well, there goes whatever profit you might have made for that. And many, many times they would allow the buyer to still keep the item. In other words, the buyer would get to keep the item, not necessarily have to send it back, and yet the seller is forced to refund. And eBay doesn't mess around. They'll immediately slap a hold on your PayPal funds. They'll immediately reach right in there and grab the money out of your PayPal account and give it to the buyer. And if you have your checking account linked to your PayPal account, eBay would do the same thing. If there wasn't enough money in the PayPal account, for instance, if it were a big ticket item or whatever, they'd just reach right over into your checking account that you had associated with your PayPal, and eBay would just yank that money right out of your checking account and instantly give it to the buyer as a refund. Now, if you're not operating on a big budget, and this happened to many, many thousands of small sellers, and you had a car payment due or insurance due or a light bill due or a water bill, that money might not be there in the checking account. And so by eBay reaching in there and yanking that money out and refunding it, it could cause some of your checks to bounce. It could cause some of your important bills maybe not to get paid. So it began to adversely affect small sellers economically. At the same time, they began to just slap 21-day holds on everybody's PayPal accounts. So you might have sold $600 worth of stuff in a given week, but you were 3 weeks before you could touch that money. There was a hold on it. You couldn't spend it. You couldn't move it. You couldn't access it. You couldn't do anything with it until the buyers had left feedback indicating that they'd received the item and that they were happy with it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This became ridiculous, and it actually isn't legal either. And this has been contested in a few states. I talk about this in my ebook. And once again, all of these events I'm talking about led up to me writing this ebook, which Noise, The Decline and Fall of eBay, an American Economic Juggernaut by Rich Vernadeau. I published it as a Kindle ebook on March 30th or 31st, 2015. So here we are, 4 years later, celebrating the 4th anniversary of my ebook, which is still for sale there. Needless to say, eBay may have improved and gotten better in a few small areas, but it's still extremely difficult for the small seller to navigate or operate. Another thing that they did, which I talk about in my book, and I've talked about it on numerous shows, is what was known as detailed seller ratings. I think they've eased up a little bit on that, but a detailed seller rating would be where a buyer could rate their seller in 5 different areas. And now many of this, it's very subjective. In other words, a buyer could wake up on the wrong side of the bed or in a bad mood and could just go in there and leave a seller 5 ones, just 1 star. And well, that would just devastate and impact your sales, because instantly all of your items that you have on eBay would go down in search. The algorithm on eBay would see that you had gotten a low DSR rating from a buyer, so it instantly demote the ranking of your listings, so that not as many people see your listings. You'd be maybe on the 3rd page, instead of the 1st page. And so people searching and going into eBay wouldn't necessarily find or see your item unless they really, really, really looked hard for it. So oftentimes your sales would also be throttled in terms of you just simply zero to very little visibility would be even given to your items, unless your DSR rating raised up above a certain level. And this was ridiculous. And of course, all the big boys, the big corporate people like JCPenney and Kmart, and they were immune to this. It didn't affect the big guys. It only affected the little guys. Yet another way that the small sellers were penalized. At any rate, all this can be researched and read about. I recommend E-Commerce Bots, Anna Steiner. I recommend you do Google searches for all of these things. And you could even go into the archives of the eBay chat, the eBay discussion groups, Seller Central. It's called something else now. But basically for years, sellers have been getting right there on eBay in the discussion boards, the discussion rooms, and posting these bad experiences. So this is well documented. It's affected thousands and thousands of people. And it is, again, part of the decline and downfall of eBay, which led to the publication of my book, Noise, The Decline and Fall of eBay, an American Economic Juggernaut. Thank you.